If you're familiar with crypto.com, then you probably know that they provide a debit card for use in conjunction with their mobile app. This debit card allows you to earn cashback rewards ranging from 1% to 8% paid in the crypto.com native token of CRO. Now, depending on how much you stake for the card, the more rewards you get. Now, this video isn't about the crypto.com card, it's about how high street banks are blocking transactions to crypto sites such as crypto.com. So I won't go into too much detail here about the pros and cons of the card. Now, I'm currently on the second level tier for the crypto.com card, and I'm excited to upgrade into the next tier where my cashback rewards will increase from 2% to 3%. Plus, I'll also receive a 10% staking reward. So in order to level up my debit card rewards, I just need to transfer the necessary amount of 2.6k to increase my stake on the CRO token. So yesterday I tried to send a direct payment of £2,600 via my Barclays mobile banking app to crypto.com. About 10 minutes after sending the payment, I had a missed call from Barclays who left me a voicemail. The voicemail asked me to call the anti-fraud department and quote a reference number, so I knew it was probably to do with this transaction. So I called the number, got through to an advisor named Ben who took me through some security questions. Once I passed security, Ben then asked me if I had a reference number. I gave him the reference number and then he asked me the nature of the call. Well, you guys called me, Ben, and asked me to call you back with the reference number, so you tell me what it's all about. Well, it turns out that Barclays had blocked the transaction to crypto.com for fear of it being a fraudulent transaction. Ben then proceeded to patronise me regarding fraudulent activity. Okay, so I understand the dangers of fraud and I understand and I'm happy that Barclays wants to protect me from fraud. So I confirmed that the transaction was indeed a genuine transaction made by myself and asked Ben to allow the money to be sent. I'm then told that the transaction has been cancelled and that I would need to send it again. Okay, no problem, I'll do that right now. But this is where things got worse. So Ben began to ask me a number of probing questions that I wasn't happy with. He asked me what I know about the company I'd sent the money to. He asked me how much I've invested with them, which I declined to tell him. He asked me if I have investments elsewhere, which again I declined to tell him. He then asked me how much I know about cryptocurrencies and other investments. He asked me if I use a broker or if I make my own investments. Now I declined to answer all of these questions and told him that this was none of Barclays' business, where I invest my money. So Ben kept trying to justify the questions and mentioned the Financial Conduct Authority. I told him I don't care who wants the information, as far as I'm concerned, it's my money and I can do what I want with it. I appreciate the initial call to confirm that there isn't any fraudulent activity going on, but once that I've confirmed that, then that money should be released as far as I'm concerned. Now Ben apologised and told me that I could then make the payment again. So after getting off the phone from Ben, I went back to the Barclays app and tried to make the payment. 10 minutes later, when I came to check the status of the transaction, I found that I was locked out of my Barclays banking app with an error code of, I think it was R214, plus a telephone number to call. So I called the number and spoke to a very friendly lady who tried to help. I explained the situation and she told me that I would need to speak to somebody in anti-fraud again. So after being on hold for 50 minutes, I finally got through to a chap called Sadiq. He explained that the transaction was stopped due to risk of there being fraud and that access to the mobile banking app had been blocked to prevent any more suspicious activity. So I explained that I'd already spoken to Ben regarding this and that I was told that I could now make the payment. Clearly not the case. Now, preventing transactions taking place is one thing. Blocking my access to my own accounts is another thing entirely, especially after I'd confirmed that it was indeed me attempting to make the payments. So Sadiq told me that I would not be able to send the money until I'd answered all of the questions that Ben had asked me previously, and a whole lot more. Barclays want to know my complete investment history, how much I've invested, who I've invested with, if I use a broker, do I invest online or anywhere else, what I know about the companies that I'm investing with, where they're based, what's their physical address, and so on and so on. Again, I declined to answer any of these questions. I told Sadiq what I'd previously told Ben, this is none of Barclays' business. The only people who need to know anything about my investing activities are myself, obviously, the platforms that I'm investing with, and the inland revenue, and only then if I've made profits. Now, if I want to put all of my money into crypto, that's my business and nobody else's. If I wanted, I could bet all of my money on a horse race this afternoon. That's entirely my prerogative and none of Barclays' business. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that account fraud is a very real thing, and I understand the dangers of crypto and scammers and phishing and all of those things. But once I've confirmed that it's me attempting to make the payments, that should be enough for Barclays to release the funds. They shouldn't block the transaction again, and they most certainly shouldn't block access to my accounts. Sadiq insisted that I would not be able to proceed with the payment until I answered the questions he'd asked me. Now, I told him again that this is absolutely none of Barclays' business, and I just asked him to unlock my account so I can move my money elsewhere, which I fully intend to do. This is atrocious behaviour from Barclays. I've done all of my banking with them for 10 years now for personal and business banking, but I won't be staying with them for very much longer. I'm currently looking to move my money over to, say, Monzo or maybe Nationwide, those banks who don't appear to have any of these archaic rules and regulations. So if you know of any other banks that maybe you use that are crypto friendly, then please leave them down below in the comment section and I'll be sure to check them out. Barclays cancelling these transactions has absolutely nothing to do with fraud and everything to do with the high street banks trying to slow down the growth of crypto. Barclays have allowed me to make debit card purchases of crypto in the past, but they purposely slow down or outright prevent purchasing of crypto by bank transfer. It seems that most high street banks have also been putting pressure on credit card companies to not allow the use of credit cards to purchase crypto. Now, it's funny how they'll allow people to gamble using credit cards and bank transfers, but not to buy crypto. This is not just a UK thing either. Banks are being directed by governments all over the world. They're all terrified of DeFi. Now, if banks just played fair and gave us a better rate on our savings, then maybe people wouldn't be looking to invest their money elsewhere. Why would anyone leave their money in a bank earning a measly 0.01% when you can use a crypto platform to stake a stable coin such as USDC at 12%? Now, speaking to other crypto investors, many of them have had similar issues with their high street banks, but Barclays seems to be one of the very worst in the UK. They were one of the first UK banks to block the Binance exchange. What's even more concerning is that getting your money back into your Barclays account from a crypto exchange is even more of a challenge, so it seems. As somebody else said to me recently, if you think getting your money from Barclays into crypto.com is bad, just wait until you need to withdraw to Barclays. That's a whole new level of anti-fraud bullshit. If you plan on buying, selling or holding cryptocurrency, be very careful about who you bank with because you may struggle to make any transfers and may even find yourself locked out of your bank account, or at the very worst, have your bank account closed. Now, on top of all this bullshit regarding cryptocurrencies and crypto transactions, etc., Barclays have also been asking me for a lot more information regarding my business activities lately. They sent me a questionnaire through last month sometime asking such questions as what is the nature of my business, what's my turnover, do I have dealings with companies overseas, what are my expenses, and all those other fact gathering questions. Now, I don't mind answering these questions, but in all honesty, most of these questions are questions that they already have answers to. And the ones that they don't have answers to, such as my current turnover, well, they could actually work that out for themselves. Again, I don't have too much of an issue answering these questions, but when I'm receiving threatening letters telling me that my account could have some of its features restricted, or in the most recent letter telling me that my account may be closed if I don't provide answers to these questions, that really starts to piss me off, especially as I've already sent back the questionnaire and they've acknowledged the receipt of it. Customer service is terrible. Saving rates are atrocious, policies are archaic, and blocking access to accounts is just unforgivable. Is it any wonder high street banks are losing their business to challenger banks such as Monzo, Starling, Revolut, etc.? Is it any wonder that people are investing their money into cryptocurrency and DeFi platforms? High street banks need to get out of the dark ages and move with the times, or it won't be too long before many of them shut their doors for good. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, then please leave them down below and I'll do my very best to answer them. And don't forget, please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content.